Alright, guys, welcome to the second episode of Chapman and Harwood Reminisce. I can't say that word. What's this show called?
Welcome to another episode of Chapman and Harwood Reminisce about nothing.
Reminisce. Alright, so just like this is our second episode, just like the first episode, we reminisce about nothing.
Exactly.
But we have to do it in the time frame of, I'm just going to call it 24 minutes. Okay?
Okay. Now,
because the live thing doesn't do exactly seconds.
that is exactly right. That's the Stu Murray effect.
The Stu, and yeah, when a show cuts off, it just cuts off.
It just cuts off.
The Stu Murray effect, as we call it, the video or the audio just shuts off. So, unlike last time, how do we get a hold of us?
scharwood@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me.
And you can get a hold of me at goodnightsleepyheadshow@gmail.com. Yeah, I got it right.
There you go. I think that may be the very first
All
time.
right, so we're cutting into our time here.
So we got to get rolling.
Yeah, so we want to talk about what do we want to miss?
What do we want to reminisce about? Well, Jason, do you remember a couple years ago, back around 2010, whenever we went to the library?
Yes, I know the library.
And we took some goofy pictures there.
Oh yes, that's when we were doing
the Richard Nixon.
Our first, very first project.
Yeah, and they have all those old phone books up there that have all these old restaurants from
I
Enid.
took a picture of Navajo restaurant. It was a drive-in.
Yeah, and I never. Of course, that was shut down by the time I came along.
But you saw the Indian head.
Yes, because it sat there for years, and I remember
a
Mom and Dad.
humongous Indian head sign said Navajo, and he kind of looked worried if you saw his face.
But he looked a little bit like Iron Eyes Cody, like he was afraid someone was going to throw some trash down on the.
Well, I got done with this burger, throw it out. It was like a Sonic. You just pulled in there, and pushed the thing, and they brought the food out to you. And it was all green. The whole building was green.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well, I just remember there was like the great big Indian, and I think there was another little Indian.
Maybe.
I remember that.
I trust you.
Mom and Dad would drive by there just so I could see the Indians because I thought they were so cool.
Yeah, it's not there no more, unfortunately.
No. Did you ever eat at the Navajo?
Yeah, my grandma would take me up there.
Did you really?
Get a hamburger, plain, no ketchup, no mustard, no mayonnaise, no cheese, just bread and meat. That's what I liked back then. That was my bread and meat era.
Well, that's okay.
I loved it.
Everybody has.
It was good though, but we didn't go there a
different
lot. I think because it was. Well, it really wasn't the other way. I just didn't choose it as much, I guess. I liked looking at the Indian, though.
Yeah, the Indians were cool.
He looked kind of worried.
Kind of like Iron Eyes Cody. And by the way, everyone knows him from those famous PSAs.
The music's so creepy at the beginning.
William Conrad, which was Cannon. I hate Cannon. He narrated those. That's him doing the voiceover.
Really?
Yeah.
He on the radio, he used to be the Lone Ranger.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's the first Lone Ranger.
Huh.
No. Maybe I got that wrong.
Oh.
Maybe it was Matt Dillon. I think it was Matt Dillon.
Oh, from Gunsmoke.
Because Gunsmoke was a radio show, too.
That's right.
I think he was either Lone Ranger or Matt Dillon.
Oh, that's pretty
I want to say Matt Dillon.
Well, that's better than Cannon.
You hate Cannon.
I hate Cannon. It has a terrible theme song. Absolutely terrible theme song. But, Iron Eyes Cody, he was not an Indian.
What was he like?
He was Italian.
Yeah,
he was not Native American.
He looked Indian.
He looked very Indian.
Yeah,
but he was an Italian. So.
But the music though, it's just so. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I know. It's that they used
and
to.
his silhouette of him rowing in that canoe. I was like, good God, that scared me as a child.
I know that is. I bet if you were to get on the YouTube and look up that video, there would be all kinds of comments about this. Used to scare the blank out of me when I was a kid.
It did,
and I can remember even. In later years, maybe the mid-'90s or so, I remember every once in a while they'd show it on Nick at Night.
Oh, yeah, there's the era where they showed old PSAs. Yeah. I remember that.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they showed it one night, and I think I had a stroke. It was terrifying. And the music,
yes, that's it.
I was like,
and then it kind of just mellowed out too.
Yeah, and then there's that scene where the guy throws the trash out. And
he threw his whole drive-through order out.
I know, it's disgusting. And then Iron Eyes Cody turns and looks at you, and a tear trickles down his face. And I'm just like, well, I'm going to go change my underwear now.
What that guy like?
Gosh, it's scary.
I ordered a number 2, and they gave me a number 3. So he just threw the whole meal out? Because there was a ton of food he threw out.
Let me tell you, after watching that, you will have a number 2 and a number 3 and maybe a number 1.
You remember.
That is terrifying music.
You remember as kids, they didn't going through the McDonald's or the Burger King or wherever you like to eat at Navajo. They didn't have number meals. You remember that before going to the food place without number meals?
I don't seem to. Never really paid much attention to that sort of.
Oh yeah, it boggled my dad's mind because he's like, what's all these numbers?
Yeah, what's a number 4?
And he's like, I'll take a number 2, but I don't want the drink. Oh, it comes with a drink, sir. Well, I don't want the drink. Well, it comes with the drink. Well, just give me the hamburger and fries, damn it.
Yeah, they couldn't say, well, that's all right. Well, yeah, you don't have to have the drink.
Yeah, you
insisted on it. It was like if he didn't take the drink, the world would fail.
Exactly. But
economic crises in the Southeast.
Yeah, that was a big deal because he didn't want the drink.
Yeah,
because we have drink at home.
That's true.
But that's when drinks were a lot more than just $1 at McDonald's. You remember that? You know, each drink size had a different price on it.
Yeah.
Like now, everything's $1. Any size is $1. Huh. But yeah, you pay for the cup instead of the drink.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember the McNeil Lair News Hour?
Yeah.
Yes. I can remember when I was
PBS.
PBS, the OETA here in Oklahoma. I can remember as a little boy being at my grandma Laura's house, probably during kindergarten time, which would have been for me 1988, 1989.
Uh-huh. About 4:30, 5 o'clock, right?
Somewhere around in there, yes, because I would go to school. I believe I went to school in the morning. Yes, I did. And I might mention that story, if not on this episode, another episode.
Well, we're reminiscing about that.
Exactly. But I could remember I'd watch, Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, and then they would show Square One Math. Which made no sense to a kindergartner, and it seemed like I remember one episode. It was like I don't even remember what it was, but it was something to do with it seemed like it was in a hospital or something to do with surgery or something. And it really freaked me out.
Square One Math?
I think so.
Wow.
And you know what? It might not have been that at all. I just might have seen it and thought it was, but. Of course, that would go off, and then blue screen, and every single episode of the McNeil Lair News Hour always started out with "Today, President Reagan." Every single episode.
Yeah.
And I knew that when that came on, well, TV was done. I'm going to go play with my toys or go listen to some records or something.
Exactly.
That's what Grandma got the TV back when the McNeil Lair News Hour came on.
That had to be at around 4 or 5. If it was back then, they didn't show when they advertise an hour is on the hour, not 30 minutes into the hour.
Right.
So that's when you knew because all the kids shows are off PBS.
And when you saw that blue screen, you're like, well, it's over.
Yeah. Good God. You remember in the summertime, some of the shows they would show in the summer during PBS? They would show kids shows, and then they go in this really, really smart stuff. Only geniuses would know. And they have these really strange, and they're always out of Canada, and these really strange intros, and you're like, am I dead? And then around noon, they would show Sesame Street again.
Yeah.
And then they would show Mr. Rogers probably right after that. Uh-huh. Then they go into the really smart kids show, Read All About It. And some reason around 2 o'clock, they would show Read Along, which was with a boot and a shoe, girl's shoe. They had eyes and a mouth. And we would watch it at school during 1st and 2nd grade. But then they would go into these 3, 2, 1 Contact.
Now, I remember that, too.
Yeah. And then,
I do remember that. I don't remember what it was about. We're going to have to look that up on the YouTube.
The song's really catchy. I still sing it every now and then. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Contact makes your lips smack. And anything 1, 2. We have contact. 3, 2, 1. Something like that.
I do remember that. I do remember.
And then around
still showing it in the late 80s.
Then around 4, they would show.
Dun 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 dun.
No, wait.
Oh no.
They would show. Let me take that back. They would show Sesame Street one more time.
They'd replay it,
and then maybe certain summers they would show Mr. Rogers right after that. Then you're dun 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 dun, and that's when you knew your whole TV day was done.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's them old guys talking about Reagan again. They're always talking about Reagan.
Then of course PBS Deadeye in between the episodes.
Oh yeah.
I don't like. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, that kind of bothers you.
But you remember as a kid, Sunday
Eurosocialism.
Yeah, Sunday. There was nothing on TV when we were kids on Sunday.
That hasn't changed.
It's still like that. I don't have cable. There's nothing on TV on Sunday?
Well, unless you watch Antenna or MeTV.
Do they still show a lot of golf?
I'm sure they do.
I remember that always. That one summer, I stayed with my grandma most of the summer. Golf was on every Sunday. I'm like, good. After church, come home, eat your Navajo burger, and golf was on. I'm like, oh. Did
your grandma or grandpa watch golf?
Oh, my grandpa loved it.
Did he really?
He didn't play it. His dad did, though. He was a professional golfer around here. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
But he watched it. He understood all that. But I didn't. I mean, I liked it because Grandpa liked it, but I was like, God, but I didn't know when that was going off. I'm like, good Lord,
right?
When is this going off? Then around 4:00, I think on Sundays when I was a really small kid, they would show Hee Haw. Eventually, one day, my grandma said, "Jim, you need to turn that." He's like, "Why?" All the girls, they're kind of dressed inappropriately. Because they had the low breasts and the skirt that was really
and those
short.
Girls, I'm sure, were very well endowed.
Yeah, I didn't mind.
Well, most men usually wouldn't. So I probably wouldn't either. As a matter of fact, I don't think I would mind one bit. But, yeah.
Did you watch Hee Haw?
No, I never did.
No.
I never watched Hee Haw.
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I just, I don't know. I just never watched it.
You ever watched Bewitched?
Yeah. I always liked I Dream of Jeannie better.
Really? You're one of those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I will say this, Barbara Eden and Elizabeth Montgomery both were beautiful women.
Yes.
They are just gorgeous in those shows.
I always thought Barbara Eden might have been, from somewhere else. But,
oh, yeah? Not American?
I think she's just American, though. Her eyes are...
She's got genie eyes.
Yeah, she has genie eyes. No wonder she got that part.
Yeah, she's a genie.
You ever see that
She's from the Middle East.
Episode of Andy Griffith, where she's on there?
Yes, I have.
And she's pretty good looking there.
Yeah, wasn't she? She did manicures and things. And didn't everyone kind of turn against her or something because she was...
Then Andy started talking bad about her because she thought they ran her out, and then she was actually in the back room. Mm-hmm. And then Andy's got a manicure, and all the guys had to get a manicure. And then their wives got upset. Then she thought Andy wanted to marry her, but, it wasn't like that. She got back with her boyfriend.
Well, and then there was another episode later on where William Christopher played a surgeon, didn't he? Or a pediatrician? William Christopher was Father Mulcahy. You remember that episode?
Is that one of the colored episodes?
I didn't think it was. Maybe it was, but he was a new surgeon. I mean, he had just come off his residency, and no one trusted him because he was new, and they'd had an old surgeon.
I do remember that now.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Petticoat Junction that's just like that.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't with William Christopher.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the people of Mayberry, good people, but
stuck up, son of a gun.
They don't trust anybody.
No, because the Hollywood producer came and they didn't trust them at first.
I know.
Wow, talk about weird talk.
Yeah, it seemed like that episode.
Well, there's a whole episode where the stranger came into town, and they, because his army buddy, we find out eventually his army buddy, told him about that place. Yeah, so he knew everyone's name. They got all freaked. Man, they are some weird people, aren't they?
I know. They just kind of... I don't know. I'd love to be. I would love to live in a place like Mayberry, but it just seems like anyone that's an outsider is just immediately evil in every sense of the word.
Must have been like that in the 50s because all the communists.
Yeah, that probably was part of the Red Scare. You just in the small town USA, you just didn't trust anybody that wasn't from from your area. Oh. It might be a Russian spy. KGB. So, well, anyhow, that's Andy Griffith.
Do you like Andy Griffith's songs?
From the ones that I've heard, yes, and I love his gospel music.
Yes.
We've discussed that.
Yes,
he's got three actually, but the two that he did later in life, 2 albums of gospel music, are just incredible. I mean, they are both. The arrangements of these songs are out of this world, top-notch players. I mean, God definitely played a role in those albums coming together. There's no doubt. I mean, the Holy Spirit's all over it. It's awesome. So, is this an episode of our gospel podcast? It's kind of heading that way.
He played another sitcom thing called Headmaster, The Headmaster.
Andy Griffith?
Yeah, and he was a teacher. And that only lasted the season.
Why do I seem to recall that?
I don't know. But then he had this wasn't working out, so the next season, they just called it The New Andy Griffith Show. And there was an episode with Don Knotts in it.
Of course.
And they played the same characters.
Of course.
But not from Mayberry. But they played the same characters.
Well, just like in Matlock. And we all know that anytime there is a show that comes out that's called The New Whatever, just turn away from it.
The New Odd Couple.
Yeah, The New Odd Couple.
I swore that was the black
The new WKRP in Cincinnati.
I watched all those, though. They were all on the YouTube for a while.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And it wasn't good.
No.
And do you think the ones with Johnny Fever would be good? They weren't good.
No. And then, now, this title wasn't necessarily The New, but it was What's Happening Now.
Yeah, TV Land would show those every now and then.
They would, and so would BET. Because back in 1995, October 95, I was really interested. I was really getting into the old 70s sitcoms, specifically Sanford and Son, which was what I wanted to see. And, of course, they didn't show it anywhere.
Yeah.
And they would show the spinoff. One of the spinoffs, they'd show Sanford.
Yeah.
With Dennis Berkeley, they'd show that, and then they
was the set the same? I was the one that asked.
Yeah, the set was the same.
They made it exactly the same.
Pretty much.
That's pretty good.
Pretty much.
Because some of those knockoffs, that's not the same.
Oh no, it's still the same place.
Like the new WKRP. I guess it's supposed to be outdated, but
yeah,
it's not
they
the same.
They remodeled.
It's
the
not
radio
the
station.
same.
No.
And then some of the Brady Bunch movies or TV shows, they try to. It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same house. The Brady Bunch movie that came out in the 90s, that house was pretty much the same. They got it down pretty good.
Is this the movie that Shelley Long was in?
Yeah, those are funny.
Some other folk.
The third one's not funny.
I never watched any of those Brady Bunch movies.
It's just kind of.
I was never a huge Brady Bunch fan.
Family misplaced in time somehow, and it's kind of like that whole kind of like Crocodile Dundee syndrome. He's just in a new place, and, he has to adapt to the new. Same with the Brady Bunch. They were in the modern '90s, and they were still back in the '70s.
Right, just totally out of touch with what the world was at that time.
A lot of movies are like that, though.
Yeah,
but
back then that was out of touch with how the world is right now.
Me too.
We are definitely not products of
generations. We're recording this on an 8-track.
We are exactly.
Then I somehow have to figure out how to load it up on the internet.
Whatever that is, and I'm wearing a pair of navy blue bell bottoms. All I could think of was blue bottom. Blue bottom ice cream when you have to poop and pee
in the snow.
Oh golly! But yeah, old BET. I used to watch that channel a lot because they would show Sanford, and they were right when I discovered it. They were showing What's Happening, and then they took that off immediately and replaced it with Benson. Then I got into Benson from that.
But I remember they showed the New Odd Couple on there.
Did they?
Yeah, because they were black.
Well, yeah, you had Ron Glass as Felix, I believe.
That wasn't as good.
Damon Wilson, who was Lamont in Sanford and Son.
Did they do the same scripts, or they had new scripts?
I don't know.
I swore that was called the Black Odd Couple, though.
Well, it was.
But no, you corrected me not too long ago. It's the New Odd Couple.
What if there was the Black MASH, a black version of MASH?
I guess it'd be good.
That would be cool, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they have a black version of Still Magnolias or Fried Green Tomatoes. One of those movies. Yeah. It's just the exact same movie, just all black actors.
Black version. Well, Wizard of Oz. The Wiz.
The Wiz. You ever watch that?
Which Chris Hare, he has his own opinions on that movie.
Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, I did. He let me borrow it, and I watch it always.
Did you like it?
So, it was okay. I liked Nipsey Russell as the Tin Man.
Yeah. What do you call them? The Munchkins? Is that right? The Munchkins?
Mm-hmm.
When they came out of the wall or something? Remember that? And they met Dorothy for their first time? I didn't like that. That was creepy.
I did not like Diana Ross in that film. There's parts of that movie where Diana Ross, it seems like she's just losing her mind when she's singing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Care for that.
What kind of dog was Toto? The same kind?
I think so.
Oh, that's good. At least they kept it the same.
I think he was the same.
That's good. I didn't care for that movie either. Mm-mm. I mean, it was alright, but...
Well, it was never my cup of tea, but I've never been a big fan of
Diana
tea
Ross?
to begin with. Yeah, and Diana Ross, yes. I'm not a big Diana Ross fan. So.
Yeah. I remember they used to show that on CBS a lot.
Did they really?
Like one year. It seemed like it was always on, or... Well,
that's weird.
I don't know. I don't remember why it was on so much.
CBS.
I recorded it. Maybe because I recorded it and watched it a lot. but it's one of those shows you watch and you don't like.
Yeah. So. Did you go through a Wiz phase?
Wiz
era?
Must have, but I don't know. I think I did like that song "Ease on Down the Road." That's kind of catchy.
Yeah, I liked the one that Nipsey Russell sang. What was it called? What Could I Do If I Could Feel?
You know why?
That's a great song.
I like that because that's the time Thriller came out, when I was introduced to the Wiz.
Yeah.
Because it was Michael Jackson and everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So CBS,
he was huge.
CBS showed that. That's how I got into it. So I think I just watched it for the Michael Jackson part.
Yeah.
That's all coming back to me.
Yeah. Nipsey Russell, though, that's the film's saving grace. I thought he was
the
charming as the Tin Man. Yeah.
He's kind of creepy looking Tin Man, though.
A little bit, but I do like the song. That
Buddy Epson was supposed to be the original Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
I think I heard that song.
But he had an allergic reaction to the makeup. That's what it's called. Yeah. And there's a picture of him somewhere.
Is that so?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Do you think Buddy Epson would have made a good Tin Man? He was definitely, as tall and lanky as he was.
Yeah, I think he'd been all right. He's a great actor.
Yeah,
so he would put his own take. Whoever the Tin Man was in the original movie, he was good too. I always liked the Tin Man in the original one. If I had to be one of them.
Oh yeah, the Tin Man's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that was a cool costume too for the Tin Man.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's pretty clever the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like the Wizard of Oz original?
Yeah, it's okay.
I like it.
It's not my. It's not one of those movies that I just love to watch. Or it's not even really one of those movies that I watch if it comes on, but it's all right.
But every year on CBS, they have a big deal.
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz
this, Wizard of Oz that.
I was like, why is this movie so important?
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I watch it every now and then. Somehow, I hope he's not listening, my cousin told a story about his brother, so my oldest cousin. He was ready to get home to watch The Wizard of Oz. He was all excited about it because it's a big deal. They made a big deal on TV about it.
Yeah.
But he pooped his pants at the store or something. and so his mom was mad because he pooped his pants. And
didn't we all at one point?
Yeah, but he was a much older kid, so he should have been pooping his pants. So he wasn't allowed to watch Wizard of Oz.
Oh my gosh.
And so ever since I've heard that story, I always associate it with pooping your pants. So maybe that's why I don't like it. Oh, I don't know why. I hope he's not listening. Well, I didn't say his name, so.
Well, that's good. So nobody should know who he is.
No. No, I don't think they even listen to this. So.
Golly. Well, there's a Wizard of Oz museum up in Kansas.
What?
Obviously. Yeah. I can't remember. We went to it.
Was it good?
It was not really all that wonderful.
Was
there
props from the movie?
Yeah, they had a lot of different memorabilia, but of course, my mind, we stopped and saw it, but I was just like, let's get on to Kansas City so we can get on to see Harry Truman's museum.
Who were you with?
Rustin.
Did he like it?
Oh yeah, I think he did.
Oh, that's good.
It was okay. But,
did he walk there and go, girl?
If he didn't, he should have. So we'd gone to Abilene.
Yeah.
And to President Eisenhower's museum. And then we stopped there at that Wizard of Oz museum and then went on to Independence. So,
I think that would be a very, very boring museum.
I was all about I could have really cared less. I was like, let's get to Independence and go to Truman's museum. We've seen Eisenhower's. Now let's go see Truman's.
There you go. You think Dorothy dreamed all that?
I think Dorothy did some drugs.
You ever seen the HBO Return to the Oz movie?
No, I can't.
It's very, very creepy.
Really?
The part I don't like is there's this one part. It's creepy. It has this big, huge. I timed that just right.
That was perfect.